Hello, Nick Williams here, and you're watching Medicare and Coffee on the Medicare Pro TV Facebook page. And I'm drinking water, but I have coffee here as well. My throat's been a little scratchy lately because I talk so much, and I'm going to get right into the news. But somebody was telling me, I was talking to somebody about doing this, what I do here every morning. Hasn't been every single morning, but I try. And they said, well, maybe if you didn't do it live, you wouldn't screw it up so much. And I say to them, yeah, but if I didn't do it live, it probably wouldn't be nearly as fun. And when you do things live, you just got to do them. You have to do them, and sometimes I believe at the end of the day it makes it better. But I have had some problems, that's for sure. Let's see. I will say before I get started is we're here to help you with your insurance just as well. So we do this entertainment show here for you, and this is important. It is very important to us. But go over to MedicareProTV.com, ask for a quote for your health insurance. That would be Medicare. I don't work with people that don't have Medicare. I'm a specialist. You should deal with a specialist. Not that somebody couldn't do both. That's how we sell things. We say stuff that I believe that Medicare can be complicated, and that you should have a specialist. There's a lot to know. Now you can just go into just knowing some different plans and Medicare supplement versus Medicare Advantage or whatever. You can know a little bit about drug cards, but to deep dive and go into other issues does require a specialist. I assure you of that. And you want to deal with somebody who has experience. Although, as I always say, give that young person a chance as well, because they got to start somewhere. We need to help our young workers. Young workers need help, especially in America. People just don't work as hard. Not as hard as they used to, but I wonder how much of this is true. Like we talk about, oh, these millennials and stuff like that. I don't knock them as much as I knock their parents, which would be me. Oh, so true. I tried. Our household was not perfect by any means, but I tried to instill work ethic, and I would say I'm fairly successful at instilling that in my kids. We worked hard. They knew what their father was about. They knew what their mother was about. I have an 8-year-old. She knows what her father's about. But it's weird because I'm older, so it's a whole different dynamic. I get the opportunity to do things over again, so to speak. Okay, I'm going to go to the news here. And where I'm going to start is, now this is an amazing story. And I'm going to tell you when I'm done, we can go to get a lot of information about this. Okay. A new rule from the Environmental Protection Agency would lift requirements from major farms to report the pollution they emit through animal waste. Okay, this is a big deal, but okay, here's the bottom line. Let me tell you about this before I get into reading on it, because I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read the article. It's just too much filler. Farms are the major polluter in America. I got some statistics here. Let's see. Okay. Livestock and their byproducts account for at least 32 million tons of carbon dioxide, CO2 per year. 51% of all greenhouse gas emissions. But you don't hear people talking about just shutting these farms down, and you can't. You got to figure out ways to improve this, not shutting them down. But they won't talk about it. Even like the Sierra Club, I watched this documentary, and I'm going to tell you what it is. And the Sierra Club, they get donations from the farm, some farm-related entities. And they won't go into this. They just will not go into it. They are criminal as well. I always just bash people or organizations, not people. I try not to bash any person, but I'll bash these organizations. And that Sierra Club is as hypocritical as the rest of them. you don't hear them talking about farms and the pollution of farms. And I've seen, okay, I'll tell you the show to watch. It's called Cowspiracy. Cow, as in moo, Cowspiracy. Did I just say that? Cowspiracy. And they go into this. And the guy actually goes to the Sierra Club. I'm pretty sure that's the documentary I saw about this. And they wouldn't discuss it with him. Just flat out, basically avoided the topic. And then he found out, you know what? I'm not going to say this is fact, because it was a while ago that I saw this documentary. But I'm pretty sure, I stand to be corrected, and if I need to be corrected, send me a message that, hey, dummy, you're wrong. And I'll take that. I'm fine with that. Having said that, the runoff from these farms, especially in some areas where you'll have a farm, let's say it's a pig farm or something, and I'm not even, okay, we got the chemical issue as well. So, and, okay, but the runoff, and when I say the chemical, we're talking about things they spray on the plants, pesticides and whatnot. But just the runoff from these farms is incredible. The waste that they produce and these animal farms is incredible. It's tough to come up with a solution, because it's like, one of these idiot groups, they said we should, stop cow, I guess what would you do, kill all the cows? There's stupid people out there. Not mentioning any names, but just stupid people. You can't kill all the cows. That just isn't going to work. Maybe you could do things better. I tell you something. I saw this thing where they had this, and I don't know if this was a prank or what, but it has to be a prank. But they had like this plastic bag device strapped around a cow, and as the cow emitted flatulated or whatever you call it, it was all going into this plastic bag, and the plastic bag was kind of sort of like put on their back, like a backpack. And as the cow was flatulating over the course of a day, I guess, this bag just kind of inflated. So it was by the end of the day, it was a big old balloon full of flatulation. Oh, is that unreal? Can it be? It's got to be a prank. I mean, how would you set such a thing up? And that the cows would be like, rub it off or something. Get this thing off of me. Oh, boy. I don't know about that. That must have been a prank. But I saw a picture of it, and it was but they put these hoaxes on the internet. So you can't believe what you see. All right. When these farms have it, let's say if it's a high rain, and they'll show it flood up, oh my goodness, it's all that waste and everything. And then you'll get a flood and it'll just run off. And it's just incredible. They say that there's actually, if they're by a water body, the runoff, there are like literally, and again, I stand to be corrected on all this, but as I recall in my acquiring information on this, that there's literally dead spots in bodies of water that are from the farms. Like, so you would see an area where everything's just dead. It's kind of like, here in South Carolina, in the upstate, we had a lot of mills back in the day. Of course, that's all gone. When the politicians, all of them, not any one group, but all of them sent the jobs away, those cretins, those politicians, and they're all guilty. They were all guilty of doing it. I can't say all of them. I don't know that they all knew the end results. But a lot of them are criminal. And they destroyed the middle class in America. The middle class is literally destroyed because of those politicians. All of them, Republicans and Democrats, they're all terrible. George W. Bush is as bad as this with Bill Clinton, back when a lot of this really was implemented. And, with NAFTA and stuff like that. And don't think that your party's any better. I'm a conservative person by nature, but I'm not in any group. But I am a conservative person, but I'll be damned if I'm going to be put in a category that these people that exist nowadays, those people, they're all criminals. Let me get back to this. I shouldn't say they're all criminals because they're not all criminals. That's a stupid talk. But you just get into this mode where you're just so disgusted that you just say these things. A lot of them are. And, and we see that every day. Okay, again, the farms. Watch that. Okay, if you have Netflix or Amazon Prime, you get the video thing with Amazon Prime, and it's just an incredible documentary. If it's all true, but it appears to be true, as they have a lot of data, a lot of statistics there. But they can paint a picture to make it look in the way they want it to look. All right, let me get back to. I think I've said enough on farms. I don't even need to go back to the article. So let's move on. And I've given you enough statistics. Okay. Here's why you may start receiving fewer robocalls. Your phone company may start blocking robocalls without your needing to ask for it. On Thursday, I feel like I've read this before, but I don't think I have. The Federal Communications Commission passed a ruling that allows and encourages phone companies to block robocalls by default. So in other words, you would not need to block the robocall yourself. At the moment, many phone companies offer services that block robocalls, but consumers have specifically asked and often pay for it. Have to specifically ask and often pay for it. The ruling requires companies to inform consumers of the change and give them an option to opt out of having their calls blocked. So you would have to opt out of having your calls blocked. As this reads, robocalls are a rising nuisance in the U.S. Hey, I got a cell phone, I get them. Supposedly it's illegal to telemarket a cell phone. And many of these are illegal scams, that's for sure. I went over scams before, but boy, they are horrendous. The call blocking company Umail estimates that there were some 4.7 billion robocalls placed in the United States in May alone. 4.7 billion. The FCC has long encouraged phone companies to take firmer action on robocalls. And Pai, who's the FCC chairman, I believe, describes stemming scam robocall. Describes stemming scam robocalls, which hindering that the scam robocalls, as his top priority, top consumer protection priority. I'm not used to reading the news live over the internet. It shows, doesn't it? But historically, phone companies have appeared reluctant to take sweeping action against them, in part because it's not always easy to determine which calls consumers would actually want blocked. For example, some people would want an automatic call reminding them to pay an overdue bill, while others may find that call irritating. That's a big deal. While FCC now states, let's see, I guess we're good. While FCC now states, I hope we're good. Okay, yes, we are. While the FCC now says that companies are specifically allowed to block robocalls by default, it's still a question as to whether they will be sheltered from legal liability if they block a call that the consumer wants or needs. Again, if you have a bill that says your utility is due right now and you need to pay it or you get a cutoff and you don't know and you get a cut off, then you lose your power and you needed that. Let's say you had some medical device or something, you'd have a real problem. I have a client that has her son is basically he was hit by a car and he is in a bed. She has taken care of him for well over a dozen years, and it's just so. He is basically. He's out. He's not conscious, and she has taken care of him for like a dozen years. I don't know how she can do it. Oh, it's terrible. So I'll not go down that road. I don't know if he has any consciousness at all. I think he reacts to stimulus. The FCC has proposed offering a legal safe harbor if the companies are using an authentication framework encouraged by the Commission that can verify whether a call is actually coming from where a caller ID says it is, that can verify whether a call is actually coming from the caller ID where it says it is. You can put a number in a caller ID that's not your real number. That part of the FCC's proposal is heading to the public for comment before it can become official. Okay, that's a big deal. Let's see. The best apps for call blocking. Okay, I have a call blocking app on my phone. It's called Mr. Number. Now, if you put a caller block, I have an Apple product. If you have a caller, if you have a app that blocks robocalls on your phone, you need to make sure that you turn the app on, like in your settings. So, okay. Call Me Maybe is on the brink of becoming Call Me Never. Robocalls, whose computer-generated shysters are making some people stop answering the phone altogether. I kind of sort of can tell when it's a robocall. It's like a sixth sense. It's like, why is that number calling me now? Nah, I don't think I'll answer it. The rest of us trust unknown calls about as much as a truck stop sushi. That's a good analogy. Like, would you want to buy sushi from a truck? Like, I'm fine with buying a taco from a truck, but sushi, that stuff needs to be... Did you know sushi, the very best sushi in the world, it's frozen first. Now, this is as they say, but if you were to go to New York City and go to the top sushi places they say of the world, you would find, and these sushi plates can cost like $200, $300, $400 for a plate. It's crazy. Obviously, it's not worth it. I mean, you're going there because of where it is and the name of the restaurant. It is not worth it, I assure you. I've been to some of these restaurants. I was in Hong Kong and I went to a restaurant like that. I was just talking about this to my brother last night, and I got lamb chops. It wasn't that big of a deal. It really wasn't. I've been to the best restaurants here in the upstate of South Carolina, where you come in at $150. I went to one that was really good, but a lot of them just are not. And you wonder, why did I just rip myself off? But I won't do that very often at all. I just won't do it. Let's see. All right, so let's get to the... all right, so here are 6 temp companies that flag and block robocalls on cell phones. So you could go to Hiya, H-I-Y-A, Nomorobo, spelled like it sounds, RoboKiller, TNS, Truecaller, and Umail. All right, let's see. Did they test... Okay, so it comes down to how much effort you want to put into battling robocalls and how much personal information you're willing to share to make it happen. I tell you have to be careful. I'm almost inclined to say don't put one of these apps on your phone, because then you're giving them all your information, but that can be wrong. Go to, if you have, I think there really needs to be more research on this before you go load these apps. Okay, register on the do not call list. It won't help much. It doesn't help anymore. But it takes 30 seconds, so why not? The list kept by the Federal Trade Commission tells legitimate telemarketers not to bother you. It's equivalent of a no trespassing sign on your lawn. Bonus, it also registers with the government that you care about the issue. It's free to register on donotcall.gov. Oh, wait a minute. Activate your service provider's free protection. So this should be good. This I would do. Your service provider, be it Verizon or AT&T, phone companies have finally realized that stopping robocalls is an essential part of what we pay them for. You may have heard that recently the biggest carriers pledge to support new network technology with a James Bond name, Stir Shaken. Stir/Shaken. That will help identify the true origin of calls. That's a good thing to help stop all those spoof calls, but there's a lot of work out, a lot to work out before it might make a noticeable difference. Okay, so you still want to do it, but it's a shell game. These robocall companies, and I'm an insurance agent. We market, so it's almost I say you got to give honest people an opportunity to make an honest buck. And if somebody calls you to sell you something, if it's not intrusive, you wonder, how else are they going to get to you? You get a young guy to sell an insurance. They're just starting out. They need to get a client. And if they called you up and said, sir, maybe they should do this through referrals. And that's how I started originally. I would meet with somebody and then I would get referrals to other people. This is like 25, this was nearly 30 years ago. When I first got my license, I remember calling this guy. I remember to this day, I got a referral from a good friend of mine. And I would call Sunday nights, which you probably shouldn't. This is 30 years ago. I was a kid. I was trying to plug it out, and that's what the book said. Call Sunday night, everybody's home. And, I'm just hustling to make a buck. I got kids. I'm trying to feed them, And I'm working real hard, So anyhow, I get on the phone, I'm calling, and this guy says to me, he says, look, it's Sunday night, it's 7:30, I'm watching The Simpsons, and I get a call from you. Come on, man. I just was like knocked down. That was a tough one, It was just, he slapped me down. But I kept going because I had to be successful, All right. Well, so in summary, I would say that you should use the Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, whatever it is. And T-Mobile and Sprint are supposed to be merging. So that's something that's happening. Whether it happens or not, we don't know. But that's something that is happening. And hopefully it will go through. Because I think it will create a more efficient product. And you would have like the big three. So right now you have the big two, which is AT&T and Verizon, and then you have, I think, the others. MetroCall is big out there, is getting big, I guess. And that's a great deal. I tell you what, you call that MetroCall, they've got a great deals price-wise. And if you're not really using a lot of your bandwidth on the internet, that might be the way for you to go. I can't see when people get older. I even find myself, you'll see me here sometimes, I was doing a video. Oh, you should check this video out, how to set up a Medicare.gov account. I'm glad I remembered this. On my station, you're going to see it before long. I'll have it out today as a video. I believe I'll have it out today, but it will be on my website before long, and so you'll be able to go pull it up there, and it will tell you how to set up your Medicare.gov account. Okay. If you're a lot of these companies, what they'll do is they'll give you unlimited bandwidth, but they tell you, and MetroCall says this, if you go beyond a certain, and when I say bandwidth, how many gigabytes you get or whatever it is, however they measure it, if you go beyond, say, 20, they'll slow you down. So they will slow you down, and that's it. So if you think that, and some companies will slow you down in different circumstances. I believe they have stopped that. I don't know that AT&T does on your basic plan, but some companies slow people down. So if you get unlimited bandwidth, you want to check it out. But also MetroCall, I read that they can be slowed down. They can be put behind the T-Mobile patrons. So the people that purchased from T-Mobile may get priority in bandwidth over the MetroCall. That is something that, okay, I read this, so it was a fact at one time, and that was only a month or two ago. So So when you reached your a certain number, and it was right there it was in the fine print, so to speak, but not totally hidden. People know to read the fine print. You should. And it wasn't like amidst, pages of fine print. It was in the ad. Because I was checking it out. I can't afford to be slowed down because I can't afford to have. I'd go to MetroCall or T-Mobile, but I can't afford. And T-Mobile would certainly be a priority, but I can't afford to be slowed down at all. I got a business. And if I reach my bandwidth max, or if they slow me down, whatever their procedures or whatever their policy is, that can mess me up. So anyhow, I'm going to finish with, hey, give us a chance to earn your business. Go over to MedicareProTV.com and get a quote. Or send me a message. And we'll end it right there. You guys have a wonderful day.